Previously on the Ready Set Radio podcast.
Went home.
So now, in order to get that same sort of support, you have to have something.
And
out of this world.
technology makes it so easy. Like like our entire podcast is AI. It's CG, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready.
Allegedly, when I was his age, I had a guitar and a beer in a hand. You know what I mean? Allegedly.
Get set.
We're back. We're doing it for real. And we're only moving forward. So with that being said,
It is time for the Ready Set Radio podcast.
I'm not even here.
We're not here. We're not here.
This is literally being done over a phone call.
Yeah. You hear our real voices, but
I say all that to say, to your point, like buying, when you were 16, 17 years old, you didn't have a ton of money and you went to the record store and spent $15 on a brand new CD, you tried to love that CD.
Every time.
Because it might be 2-3 weeks before you get a new one.
Yeah.
So even if it wasn't like your jam, you
made it
studied
your
it,
jam.
and like you tried harder. Like now people will listen to a song one time
I
and
feel
just go,
dude, that's
"If
really
that,
It's
dude,
really funny
if
you bring that up because I've had this theory for a long, long time. I'm a gigantic fan of early Bon Jovi, right? Early like Slippery and Wet.
Yeah, I still like it.
I like that stuff. I don't. I know it deserves.
My wife likes
it deserves the hate, but to that same exact point, I firmly believe, and I've said this for a long time, that no one likes Bon Jovi the first time they hear it. They just played them so much that it gets stuck, and you start feeling like you like them, and then you grow an affinity for that band. So I like John Bon Jovi's voice.
It's an acquired taste, and they just keep shoving it down your mouth.
I do love those two early records, man. But I felt that was the case, that it was pushed on me, and I wouldn't have loved it otherwise. But the Slippery and Wet record is the most important record in my life. It's the reason I became a musician. It's I used to listen to it every single night. It's the reason why I do what I do now.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'd ever listen to that song if Living on a Prayer wasn't on every 5 seconds.
If you're watching YouTube or listening to Spotify and your algorithm suggests a band and you put it on and 12, 15 seconds into it, you're not feeling it, you go to the next thing, you may never listen to that band again.
Yeah, it's so easy.
But if you actually spent 10, 15 minutes listening to 2 or 3 songs.
If it actually took something from you to acquire that music, you put a little more thought and a little more effort into listening and finding something about it that you like.
So what you actually getting at, what you were getting at with Bon Jovi is something I've actually talked about in the past, and you just unlocked a memory.
Cool.
All right. Nice. So it like Bon Jovi is an example of what I call a Stockholm band because it's a trauma response of Stockholm syndrome.
That's great, dude. That's exactly what I mean.
Dude. They just put psychological terms to exactly what you were trying to tell them. That's amazing.
But that's the thing. Like, not only what you were getting at before. Not only is it so much easier to be mediocre, but it's so much easier to develop a mediocre taste in music. And accept that this thing that's really a turd is polished up and we're okay with it. No, but listen to these 5 bands over here that have half the amount of monthly listeners that are worth listening to. Yeah. And that's actually part of where the original idea for our show came from, where we wanted to expose these bands to other people.
Right. Yeah.
And we're finding that, the bigger bands are getting more listens, but we're still making a point to do smaller albums.
Yeah, like we mentioned earlier the band Hell Freaks. We mentioned earlier the band or the artist Andreas. There's another band called Cheem that I'm really big on that only have maybe like 4 or 5, 6,000 monthly listeners. But it's like these guys are trying something new. They're original. They're unique. They're different.
How do you spell that?
CHEEM.
Nice.
Yes, that is one that I saw it a lot of times. It was kind of like chim, like
I think before you said it out loud to me, I was pronounced it in my head chem.
Yeah. But in also doing what we do, we find that bands in that like maybe 5 to 25,000 monthly listeners, those are the ones that are really cool and will interact with us.
Yeah.
Well,
and they'll respond back to our questions. They'll share our episodes. Like. The Falling in Reverse episode we just released is getting a lot of traction because they're a real popular band at the moment.
But falling in
Radke.
But Ronnie Radke's not
He's not
going
going to
to
share our episode.
yeah, he don't
now,
give a shit.
if we talked mad shit about him,
Should we?
he'd do a TikTok on us, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
I think
But
J
bad
Dubs isn't
publicity.
too happy with that
If
guy
you
right
want
now.
to, you go right ahead. I'm staying out of
Yeah,
it.
I don't think we'll talk crap about anybody. We don't. That's not the kind of podcast.
Yeah, it's not how we want to be, but like,
We'll give our opinions, but we won't.
And-
he might, hey, if we were gonna, he might make the list. You know, like.
So to your point about talking crap, like we've reiterated a couple of times, our show is very opinion based, but we try to steer clear from actually being like derogatory.
Yeah, no, you've got reasons for your it's methodical. You guys go through it methodically.
Yeah.
We can tell by the way you talk about it that you listen to the music methodically, and it's a genuine opinion based on what you heard, not about like whether or not a member put a hit out on his wife or like. We're not even going to name it. We're not even going to name it because you know what I'm talking about.
Sure.
But, you know, like it doesn't, none of that ever comes into play because you guys are it's just about the music. There's no political,
Well,
there's no.
There's a little bit more though, actually,
Oh.
because they have some really good one-liners as well.
Yeah.
One of my
Guys, I've heard a few
favorites, one of my favorites that I've heard so far is Thunderbolt Crotch Punch. You should totally put that on a T-shirt. I
That's
would
a
buy one.
T-shirt right
Who
there.
said it?
That is a great T-shirt. I would wear that.
I
T-shirt.
don't remember. I don't recall that ever happening.
Oh, I do, because I laughed for a hot minute over it.
Well, I'm glad. I mean, we'll just make some more crotch poach jokes for you. But yeah, I don't remember who said that one. But that's one of the things is like, I've actually like when I go back through and edit, it's like, oh yeah, I forgot this was a joke that we made. You know, like it happens a lot.
There's a lot of that happening,
and
dude.
we might-
Post is a great way to find little gems that
Yeah.
you didn't remember happening.
But then you also you listen to it so many times in editing it, you forgot that it was funny until you hear it later, or you have somebody remind you that Thunder Punch or Crotch Punch was good.
Because you might.
Thunderbolt Crotch Punch.
Thunderbolt Crotch Punch.
That is the name of my new side project.
I was gonna say that's the name of my solo record.
But
If
like,
J Dubs wasn't here, I would say that's what they called me in high school.
we might make a joke, like we'll listen to something, or not necessarily even a joke, but we'll just say like, yeah, so this song started, and I was like, man, that sucks. And we might laugh about it for a second. It's like, well, it sucks to me. Like, obviously.
I heard that in an episode. You're
Yes.
like, okay, no, it doesn't suck, but I don't like it.
Exactly, exactly.
That's a
I totally
distinction.
thought of you, Eric. I totally thought of you.
like, man, this sucks.
I've been
I know a guy
to
like
me.
that.
I've been championing that banner for a long, long time. That like just because you don't like something doesn't mean it sucks. And I hate when people are online being like, "This band sucks," or "This album sucks," or "This
Yeah.
movie sucks." I'm like,
Yeah, like Nickelback.
just because you didn't like it.
All the hate that Nickelback got. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, it's not about.
No.
It's
No.
not about they suck. It's
What
that
he
so
said.
many
Hey.
people don't like them.
What he
I have said it for
And
a
I
long
am one of
time.
those.
Nickelback is a fucking great band. They are a great.
What they
band.
said.
Are they formulaic?
I don't feel comfortable
Yes.
here anymore.
Yes. Are they?
No, you and me are right here because I've been on the other side of
Yeah.
Floaty for years now, where like. Yeah, Nickelback doesn't suck because
I'm not even a fan.
that many people can't be wrong
Yeah,
when it comes
I'm
to
not
a
even a
band
big
and whether
fan.
or not they like music.
You gotta listen to the
I
deep
can't-
cuts,
I
man.
don't like them at all.
You remember a few
all of their
minutes-
music is formula, and I don't like formula. That's just the so like it's the same kind of. We've had that same argument.
Yeah,
You
you
remember
say
a few
that, but
minutes
track 8 on Silver Side Up does not sound like how you remind me.
No.
Like there are some
There are.
diversity there.
So you remember a few minutes ago when I said it's really easy to develop a mediocre taste?
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that applies to Nickelback. Just saying. Just saying.
Yep.
Yeah, because like I don't really like the band U2. I love the Joshua Tree album.
Okay, so I said before, we talked about U2, and I said, I like about half the trunk of Joshua Tree.
I love all of Joshua Tree. I love all of Joshua Tree and almost nothing else.
This actually
But I would
reminds
never
me.
say that they suck because they've sold a bunch of records and like
Yeah,
other people like them.
Dude, they
So,
played
like,
the Sphere in Vegas, dude.
Yeah.
Nobody gets to do that.
So like just because I don't like something, I try to never
Fish
be
did
like
it.
it sucks.
But let's talk about bands that suck.
You talking about Fish?
Yeah. The band, not the food.
I love
You-
Fish is delicious.
You mean Grateful Dead Light? Wait,
You
wait.
mean the animal?
I like.
Well,
I don't like the band Fish.
Same thing.
But I love fans of Fish because they are very, very like giving with their
drugs.
extracurricular activities.
Drugs?
Yeah.
The word you're looking for is drugs.
They've always treated me good, if you know what I mean. And I think that what's his name, Trey Anastasio. I think he's talented as hell. Like,
And he's had
Hey,
a lot of nice
dude.
things to say about 311. So I give him
and
props
I
for
like
that.
311.
Yeah.
I am a 311 fan.
That's true.
They've had some good songs that I've listened to.
a lot of them.
I really enjoyed Transistor.
I like Transistor.
Transistor's
Good
a
album.
song.
Yeah.
It's definitely a good album. They have a lot of other good albums too.
I'm sure they do. I'm glad you like them.
But okay, so to your point, you know, this show has really made me like reevaluate the way I listen to
Oh, God, yes.
everything. So even like
Wow, loud.
Damn, J Dubs. What the hell?
I didn't think it was that funny.
I've listened to about every single one of their podcasts. So
Thanks.
That's funny to me.
That sounds like a personal problem.
No, that was a lot of weight off his chest. I just felt.
No, he's absolutely right. Like, it's so hard to listen to new music because we listen to it with such a more analytical ear.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, like just yesterday, just in the car on the way back from a kid's birthday party, the lady and I were listening to, I sent you the name of the band. I sent you the band the song we listened to. But
It wasn't great.
Yeah, but it was like, there were all these things happening at certain points, and we were sitting here going, but wait, what about this? And what about this? But we don't like this part. And we don't like, I don't know this. Yeah, it's just like every song
Used
is
to
like
just
that
sit
now.
down and listen to a song for 4 minutes and be like, cool, I listened to a song. And now we're like, okay, the intro is pretty cool. I don't really love the first verse, but the chorus is great.
Dude,
You know?
it's funny how it's funny how a project you're working on can change the way that you look at things because to be honest, this cover band doing the Ready Set Radio thing has completely changed the way I listen to music altogether. I don't even listen to some of the genres that I've loved for my entire life as much anymore because I'm focused on specific stuff for this and then listening to not just listening to the music, but then also listening to other people that I know break it down so that I can talk about it on a Sunday. And, you know, like the way that I consume everything has completely changed just because of the box that I have to look at it in is happening in real time, you know? So
Well,
it's weird.
As we were talking about earlier, you know, coming from playing original music into playing covers, you know, playing covers, there's sort of variations. You can try to emulate the original.
Yeah.
You can try to add your own spin. You can try to do covers in your own style. You know, there's all kinds of ways to look at it. But you're exactly right. You might not be the biggest fan of, let's say, Bon Jovi, but whenever it's time to learn "Living on a Prayer," you start to actually like learn the riffs and the melodies, and you're like,
you got to break the song down.
There's something kind of cool here, and I think that's kind of interesting because then you sort of learn like the subconscious reason why this is a hit.
Yeah.
Like, okay, on the one hand,
Oh
you
my
got
God! This song by Def Leppard, it's the pour some sugar on me. This tiny little guitar lick makes the whole song.
You know,
and
that
you
was
realize that like that's how it's built. And
that was and something else cool about playing covers, and I'm sure you guys have noticed this, is "Pour Some Sugar on Me" is a great example. That was a song that we used to play in most of the cover bands I've been in. But it's like, I don't like that song. I don't want to hear that song. But as soon as we start that song and I see everybody in the room get on their feet and
there's
start
a different
dancing,
feeling
I
about
feel like-
playing
I told him that a long
pleaser.
time ago. I was
Yeah.
like, dude, you may not like a song, but you might love the way a crowd reacts to you singing it.
Yep.
Playing crowd
absolutely.
pleasers, dude. That's
Yeah.
where it's at.
Yeah.
I love that
absolutely.
feeling. I love that. I didn't have to write the damn song. I know that I didn't write the
Just
damn
not
song.
country, right?
But they don't care right now.
I
I'm
like
playing it. and They
country.
love it.
I like some country.
That country station presented by Ready Set Radio.
Yeah.
A matter of
Not
fact,
happening.
little preview.
With that being said, let's take it to this word from our sponsors.
Hey, buy something.
I'm Drew from Ready Set Radio,
I'm Julie from Ready Set Radio.
and this is Merchandising 101.
Check out this shirt.
Do you like futuristic novelties of a band that's not quite yet famous but will be famous soon in the future? I'm Drew,
I'm Julie.
and we're here to sell you some.
How about this shirt? Cool huh?
Are you one of those meticulous home decorators that only decorates your house with one style of stuff? Well, we're here to sell you our style of stuff. WRSR, Ready Set Radio 103.7 presents the merch store. You can find it at ReadySetRadio.com.
ReadySetRadio.com. We're Ready Set Radio, and we want to see you wearing our cool stuff. Grab a shirt.
A little slower.
If your hands are wet, but you promise you didn't wash them, that'd be great.
You know, I just realized.
All
that-
right, we're back. That was fun.
Oh boy.
Damn. That was great.
Yeah, so hopefully you guys out there like that commercial and are going to go buy a shirt or something.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Help keep
us-
the podcast going.
Actually,
Helps us pay J Dubs his $10 a month salary.
Speaking
Yeah.
of
Keep 'em
shirts, I
online.
think that like every time you take a commercial break, you also cut like wardrobe change.
We could.
Yeah.
Good. We have
Switch
we have
spots.
outfits.
We switch spots.
Jade, he would love that. He's tired of sitting in that chair, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's not a great chair compared to the cushiness that we.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's actually, that's technically usually his
I know
spot.
you gave us the nice
Yeah.
chairs. I appreciate.
I'm really
that.
enjoying the arms, not
Yeah.
these arms, but
They,
they're nice.
Yeah, y'all should feel really special for that.
They sold
especially
it.
especially you, Monster.
Yeah, they sold it
do.
on me. I wasn't too happy about it, but it makes sense. Visually, it does make sense.
No,
for
I agree.
Our guests
I
to be over
appreciate
there.
it.
I am going to invest in a better chair though for.
I feel like we
multi-person.
need one.
Yeah.
We're going to need one eventually.
I think we
anyway,
need
so.
a sectional.
I know. I think I was
Just
thinking.
wrap
To
it
be
around
honest,
the room.
I was thinking
to be
a big
honest,
ass beanbag chair.
I really love the chairs that J-Dub sent us in the chat earlier.
the
dude.
zebra stripe?
Dude,
Oh, the
those things
zebras?
are amazing.
Yeah.
I love them.
They were
want 'em.
sexy.
I
I
want them
kind of
so
like
bad.
the sectional idea with like 4 of us on a couch.
That would
Yeah.
be cool.
We have the
I was
podcast.
thinking sectional.
we all have to turn our heads to talk. Hey, man, how's it going?
Yeah, but those zebra print chairs were only $100 for a whole set.
But if you get the
Sectional is
sectional,
gonna be a little bit more
and
than that.
ottoman.
A little bit.
And ottoman.
It was a little ottoman too. It was
if
nice.
you get a sectional, make sure it has a chase lounge section, so somebody's like this the whole time.
Let's just bring the one upstairs down here. I hate that thing anyway.
Okay,
I don't like it up there.
let's do it.
It won't fit.
Well, there's
it.
your problem right there.
I
I
know.
got no gas in it.
I mean, you guys don't like just like 10 big ass beanbag chairs? We all lounge around. Like
I do
it's
like a beanbag chair.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
They're hard to get out of. But,
That's true.
You know,
Yeah,
we
all
are-
of us are
And
getting
we're all
up and-
getting older, man.
Yeah, bro.
Them
Okay.
knees creak.
You'll be the
Days.
first one we have to help out of the chair.
All
I
right.
see your knee brace, and I kind of envy that.
All right. Well, allow me
Like-
to amend my idea. We'll do beanbag chairs on an elevated platform. So we just roll off.
I just like how things have changed because, like, you see a concert tee, like a vintage concert tee from like '97. You're like, I like that shirt. You're a little
I hate that
envious
you
of
just called
it.
97 vintage.
But I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
But now instead, you're like, that's a sweet looking knee brace.
It is a fantastic brace, guys. It's,
I like your
It's got
idea.
copper in it.
I like your idea of,
You splurged.
but I like your idea of like beanbags on an elevated platform because it's not getting out; it's just letting gravity take hold.
yeah, just,
Yeah. You just roll out.
point the feet out and roll, and hopefully you'll land on your feet.
That's where fire
J-Dubs
safety
doesn't.
call comes back to.
Oh,
This guy
man.
knocked over that. He was on top of that, filming that video we showed you. Knocked the whole thing over.
I could have sworn we got it on video too because I was going to put it in the bloopers, but we could never find it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
gotta be
you can
gone.
only catch it like one
Yeah.
moment. Like you see the
in
in
the
this corner
corner.
over there start to fall, and everyone get very silent.
Yeah, that was.
It's like all the air got sucked out of the room, and we were like,
You had one job. You had one job. You were filming.
Nobody in this room has one job, Dubs.
This is very
Yeah.
true.
No, that
I
is
think
also
Eric's
true.
got 104. I got 101.
yeah, and in order to be in this group at all, you have to be a heavy hitter. So
Yeah.
like, yeah.
You gotta have multi talents to be a part of this project.
Yeah, I've got my full time job. I podcast, and then on Tuesdays you can see me at the Lusty Leopard.
And then on top of that, you've got like 4 kids. So like, yeah.
Yeah,
J Dubs is at Sugar Bears on Friday afternoons.
guys are like rabbits over at the house, aren't you?
Well,
Getting it
no,
in.
they're triplets, so it only happened once.
I have twins. I have twins. I understand. It happens. Hey, high five. That's super sperm, ladies and gentlemen.
I've never been around such fertile dudes before.
I mean, like multiply many.
Saving the family name.
And everybody said, amen.
So, with all this being said, our podcast would like to put our
Yes.
Good job.
Take your time.
You got it.
their words. I'm getting them together. Anyway,
All right, guys. Words
my
of
hand.
encouragement. Come on, you can do it.
Hold my hand. You good?
long story short,
He's got it.
we would like you guys to review not only an album, but we would like you guys to review your first soundtrack.
Yes.
Okay, we have not done a soundtrack.
Yeah,
we talked about it.
We talked about doing soundtrack. We got theme months. Like coming up is Ladies Month, so we talked about doing soundtracks.
Cool.
You know, the first soundtrack I ever owned was actually the first CD I owned, which was Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls.
Nice.
Okay.
It was all
okay.
because of the White Zombie track.
Yeah, we
Nice.
had one in mind.
We do
Which
have one in
one?
mind.
What you
Which
got?
one?
Lost Highway.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's a little bit more of a new metal one. I
Yeah.
think.
It does. It does. There's Ramstein's on there.
9 Inch Nails.
9 Inch Nails.
Smashing Pumpkins are on
Yeah.
there.
Ooh. Okay. So a mix of
Yeah,
both
yeah.
our worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the one that
Amen.
keeps coming to my mind is the Spawn soundtrack.
Yeah.
Because that's
That's good too.
Dude, that's a good one.
is good.
That's a damn good one too. But like mine, I think is a little bit more outside the box. I was thinking Pulp Fiction.
That's a good one.
It's not. It's
One of
not
my
heavy.
favorite movies.
It's not heavy, but that Quentin Tarantino soundtrack, dude, he goes
Yeah.
all over the place with his
That's
stuff.
one of
and I
my
love
favorite
that.
movies.
I love that. So I was thinking maybe that one.
Okay,
But I
okay.
like his better. So we're gonna go with his.
Damn, I didn't
So-
put any thought into the soundtracks because I like the one you said to begin with.
Yeah.
I know we actually talked about the Spawn soundtrack on the Stabbing Westward episode.
That's right. Yeah, because they're on that soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yep. And then also one of my favorite soundtracks was the Mortal Kombat soundtrack.
Ooh,
Dude,
yeah.
I love KMFDM. I love Gravity
Hell yeah.
Kills. I love Fear Factory. So.
Do you like MDFMK?
I'm annoyed. I didn't think of that one.
MDFMK, I do like them. Sure,
Rebel
sure.
Rebel Razzle was one of my favorite songs and the first song I ever saw.
So he took me to see 20 Years of Tears, and I was miserable. And then I took him.
Not during Thursday.
Not during Thursday. I enjoyed that. But then I took him to go see KMFDM, and
Hell
that was
yeah.
way more fun.
I bet
Hell
that was
yeah.
all. I bet visually that was awesome.
That's a kind of a
That
bucket.
was-
that would have been a bucket list for me as a
It's
teenager, man.
pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool.
So with the I've seen so many damn shows, but after we left that, it was like that was the first time in a long time that I think new decibels in my ears had died because it was like the first
Yeah.
time in a long time that my ears were
You
ringing
came
leaving
you
the
came out of
show.
that concert with one less frequency.
I was,
yeah.
Plus, it never stopped blinking. Like the whole time, things
I
were
believe it.
blinking.
But now I have no idea when the microwave's done.
I was riding to the podcast.
That was a hell of a joke, dude. That was a good one.
joke.
I love that.
I was riding here to the podcast today, and for no reason, out of nowhere, both my ears started ringing at a high pitch.
Oh, yeah.
Stupid
I get that.
high.
Yeah, it
For like
happens.
5 minutes. man.
That's called being a musician.
Yeah, man.
Dude,
I wrecked myself playing in a light divided.
My-
dude.
my-
I
See, the
wrecked
best
myself.
way to get rid of that is to put a screwdriver in your ear.
You know how I know
Phillips
my
head.
tinnitus is worse?
Phillips head.
Because the ringing never
It
stops.
does, yeah, there's always a bit of a
Never.
ring.
It's always there, dude.
I
I
could-
just gotta. Yep, there it is.
Yeah, I could ignore
Everybody be quiet. I want to listen to the ring.
the voices in my head are telling me something. Hold on.
So that's something that crossed my mind. You mentioned a light divided. Obviously, trying to reach a broader audience, you have to pick records that artists that have a good following a lot because you and I met playing in bands.
Yeah.
God, probably pushing 20 years ago. I
Probably
guess,
so, yeah.
around-
Close to it, dude. My high school graduation is 20 years
I've
this year,
actually-
so it's
Yeah.
like right
It's
on
funny
the
you
cusp.
mentioned that because I realized that Lee and like Louie and those guys, I've known them for like 25 years,
Yep.
dude.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I had been doing some bands because the band Death Proof is when me and Lee finally linked up.
Yep.
And Death Proof.
Death
did-
Proof was how I met you.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Yep. And Death Proof. I some of my old bands did play with the light divided sporadically.
Yeah, I
but
tried to steal you from one of them.
You did?
Yeah, I
Funny
really did.
enough, that happened right before I joined. He
Yeah.
told me that story, and he was
Really?
like, "Look at him.
'Cause I
Watch
was-
him play guitar. Do it like that."
Yeah, for real, that's
what
true.
he told me, dude.
my
He was
God.
like, "Look like, do
Oh,
it
that-
like."
Yeah, because
Wow.
out of
Do it
all
like
the bands,
I don't know
Monster,
that I knew that.
out of
Yeah.
all the bands that we played with, like there was very few guitar players that like to put on the kind of show that we like to put on.
Right,
And you were
right.
very, very high energy
Yeah.
and a great guitar player
Thank
and a
you,
great
man.
personality.
Appreciate that.
Indeed.
So yeah, I tried to steal him. It didn't work, but I tried.
Yeah,
I tried.
And then he got me.
And then he got me. Then I came.
You are a lovely consolation prize.
Thank you,
No,
sir.
But so I
You're a
kind
brand new
of
car.
With 70,000 miles.
Oh, by the way,
new to
side
somebody.
note, that's the first time we've mentioned the light divided on this podcast.
It is
Yeah,
by
yeah,
name.
yeah, sure is.
By name. We've talked about it before because
Yeah.
obviously Floaty and I played for years with them. But
Sure.
Oh,
But
yeah,
you by
I'm
name,
chopped
it's-
liver, right?
That's not because we don't
I'm
want to
sorry,
talk
J
about
Dubs.
it.
I
We
forget.
all three played.
You came after me, so I forgot. So
It's not that we don't want to talk about that band.
Many did.
But we wanted to do new stuff and not,
Yeah,
and not
absolutely.
kind of hang
Yeah,
on to
yeah.
the past. We love everybody that was in that band
But-
except for J Dubs.
So the only reason I brought that up though was because I thought it would be fun at some point to actually go back and give the Breakdowns for Breakfast treatment to like an album I played guitar on.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it's sort of like, okay, for me on a personal level, that might be kind of fun, but nobody gives a shit. Like
Yeah, but,
nobody's gonna know who that is.
I don't know
you
if you're like me, but every time I listen to my stuff, I'm
Uh.
doing what you guys do on your show. I'm like, shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
That was cool. I shouldn't have done that.
yeah, that's the artist's curse, though.
Yeah, dude.
You're always gonna have that about your own.
The
stuff.
shoulda, woulda,
Yeah.
coulda.
If we do want to do an album that you play guitar on, it's cool. I'm in for it because you've already brought me albums I didn't like, and
Damn.
Shots fired.
We need a shots fired button just for
Shots
that right
fired! Shots fired!
Oh my God, that was
Brilliant.
beautifully
Hold on.
done. I love it.
Nobody else clap. This is me for you. That was awesome.
That was good. That was good. And what band were you in?
Oh shit!
Oh,
Let's do it.
Limp Bizkit.
I was busy with other things like
Having children.
Being successful and making money.
yeah, having triplets.
well, no, because if I was successful making money, I wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Oh.
Damn.
Oh, yeah, I was like, you didn't have to aim it our way, dude. Dang. But
And thus died Breakdowns for Breakfast. You leave it to the Ready Set Radio podcast. I'll up other shows.
But actually,
I come here to end it all.
to piggyback off of us giving each other shit,
Yeah.
that was another reason that I thought this would be a fun idea for a show, is because I'm nobody. I haven't, I've played in some decent regional bands. I've opened for some big bands and have some stories and stuff, and that's cool. But nothing huge. He's ran sound for a lot of events, for a lot of bands. He's done a little bit of touring with some bands, running sound. And so I kind of felt like we could approach these albums with a little bit of a different perspective,
Right.
as opposed to just like, there's one podcast I really like that is almost exclusively nu metal, and they review nu metal records, and they're just two dudes who like music.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. I love their show. I listen to every episode. But having a musician and a, sound engineer's perspective on it, we can
lends a
talk
little bit of credence.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah, not that we're somebody special, but we do have a little bit of experience and can
My
say
mom
like,
always said I was special.
You are special.
Oh, thanks.
well, she was not wrong.
Yeah.
But like we can say like
Unicorn fist.
the mix. we can
can't
talk
say
about
that. We can
the
say
mix or the guitar riffs or whatever, because we have at least a semblance of experience in
Yeah.
that world.
Right, yeah.
I've had this experience growing up. I've been on that band for a while now, but like when I was in A Light Divided and we were putting out the records and stuff, I couldn't wait to show it to people. Like, hey, check this out, But now, even though I love those records and I think they're pretty damn good, I'm hesitant to show people it, like, because I don't do that anymore. Like, it's not who I am anymore.
Right.
I'd rather show them this. Like, hey, check out my podcast.
Yeah.
This is what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And it's not that I don't like what I did in that band. It's just not who I am anymore. It's not.
Yeah, you're passionate about something new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's when you're doing
Can relate.
It's doing something that you're proud of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like you're not ashamed to show it to
Yeah,
anybody.
and it's
you
not
know.
that you're not proud
I
of
love
what
it.
you
I'm
did
not proud.
before.
I'm very proud,
But you're
especially the
just
last
proud of
record.
something else right now, and
Yeah.
that's what's in the forefront of your mind.
Yeah, and like it's already hard enough to like be floaty and not be associated with that band. Yeah, there was a long running joke about my ego because a few years it got unchecked. It was out of check for a while when I was doing drugs.
It happens to the best of us.
But yeah, I think why we haven't talked about Light Divide on the show. It's not that we're not proud of that or love that.
Right.
It's just that this is what we're doing now. We don't want to like cloud the waters, I guess. So to
Well,
speak.
it's the same as authors, filmmakers, musicians. It's always, you might be proud of the body of work that you've produced, but you want people to take notice of your new thing. And I know that's, kind of difficult for different people and in different, mediums. But it's you hear that all the time, like, yeah, this is a really cool band, but I like their old stuff.
Yeah.
And for, I think it was Billy Corgan just recently was like, I saw a little clip of him talking where
He
like,
talks a lot, dude. He's got a lot
he
to
talks
say.
a little too much,
Yeah, a
I
little
think.
Does he not sound like Cartman when he sings?
Oh my God.
Hey, now
Go ahead. You're the Smashing Pumpkins fan.
I'm a Smashing Pumpkins fan too.
I'm
bro.
a fan too, but damn it, Billy.
I'm sorry, I just messed that up for everybody because that's all you'll think of now.
No, it's okay. I got a Pumpkins tattoo. I've seen him live.
Oh,
He doesn't
fuck yeah,
talk a
dude.
lot live, but you're right. He it's nasally as shit.
Yeah.
But I heard him recently say he was like doing I think he was just like chilling, and somebody walked up and was like, "Are you Billy Corgan?" He said, "Yeah." He's like, "Dude, Melancholy, Vishnu, like those albums meant the world to me.
Yeah.
Your new stuff, not so much." And Billy's like, why would you tell me
Yeah,
that? Like, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah, I saw him say that. Like that
Yeah.
is rude. Like
Yeah.
That
It's
is,
like, it's
I would
rude,
get.
sure.
That's a total fair
And I
point.
kind of
like,
agree.
don't be that kind of fan, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Just no matter what you're a fan of, only ever talk about the things you love.
Yeah.
Because that's
Yeah.
the only good thing, dude.
I've made it a point, like in the many times that we've
unless
met
it's your
people-
podcast thing.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
anytime I've had the pleasure of meeting someone that like I respect and love their music, or I think they're a great artist, it's just been about, hey man, thank you.
Yeah.
You've changed my life.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to hold them up.
It's
I don't
not
get
giving
autographs.
specifics. It's
yeah.
just,
or even if it's not
generalizing.
change, it's you contributed to. You.
Yeah.
I got something out of what you gave, and I love it, and I appreciate
You
that.
were a
know?
beautiful
Yeah.
part of this chapter of my life, man. Thanks.
I remember
yeah.
I was in a band for a little while that was on the Pavement Records, and so was Head PE. So when Head PE came to town, they're one of my favorite bands.
Nice.
I kind of weaseled our way onto
Yeah, you
the
did.
bill.
Yeah, you
and,
did.
Which it should have just been a no-brainer.
Yeah,
Right.
you did.
Yeah.
yeah, it was at well,
The
this will
place.
mean-
The place.
yeah,
Place
And-
A, not to be named.
right. And I just remember I got to meet the lead vocalist, and it was one of those things where like I have nothing to say other than thank you, and can I just get one picture with you? You know,
Nice.
Yeah.
and he was super cool and super chill, and everything was cool, and I got a fun picture of the two of us, kind of trying to look cool, but those people get people come up to them a lot. And it's better to just shake hands and say hello and thank you
Yeah.
than to.
Oh, that's totally not my MO. I walked right up to John 5 and just started talking to him like I knew him, like he was my neighbor down the street. And you know what? He was so like reciprocating of that. Like he was totally cool, and
Yeah.
like I feel sometimes it's the energy you give off.
Oh, yeah.
If you treat them,
That's true too. Yes.
Yeah, if you treat them like they're high and mighty, I feel that's more of a disrespect than just being like, "Hey, man."
That's true. That's true.
When having a good day,
When I met some of the dudes from Edema, that's kind of how I approached it. I was about 4 Red Bulls deep and was a little jittery, and was just like,
Bet you scared him, didn't you?
I hope so. Well,
hey guys, I'm really excited to meet you.
probably not, because we talked about this on our episode of Edema's first album. Their guitar player Tim Flucky is 6'9".
That's a big man.
So I don't
Good
think I
God.
scared him. I
That's
was
a
like,
big man.
"Hey, I'm a big fan. I like your band."
He was like,
okay.
"You want uppies?"
I think like 6'8" is where fear stops. Like,
That's a great take, dude.
I like
Oh
that
my
line a
God.
lot, dude. I like that line.
I was sitting here trying to think of a story about like meeting your heroes and whatnot that would apply, and I have one that I'm not going to share because that person was a bitch. But kind of advice.
Oh,
for
I know who
fans.
that is.
Well, I
We'll
feel
talk
like
about
you
that
narrowed
after.
it down.
We'll talk about it
Okay.
off.
But I
mic.
do have some advice for fans of bands, especially bands that are only playing like these 1,000, 2,000 spot places. Be respectful.
Yes.
The example I'm giving you is I went and saw Kill Hannah dozens years ago. And after the show, I was like, I'd like to meet Matt Devine, like just say, hey, thanks. But so we went outside. It was at Old Ziggy's, so out
Yeah.
the side where the buses were. And he's
Old
out there on his
Ziggy's.
phone, right? He's having a conversation. From what I can hear, it's a loved one, someone he cares about. And all these little fans keep coming up and interrupting his phone call. And me and my friends just sat back and sat down until he was done. And he noticed it. And he finished his phone call and he came up to us. He's like, hey, you guys want to go get a drink? We're like, yeah. So instead of just meeting
That's cool.
Matt Devine for 4
No
seconds,
shit, dude.
we got to hang out with him for like 2
the
hours.
bar, yeah.
And better than that, I was one of my buddies was there with me. And we go to the bar, the upstairs bar at Ziggy's, and he's like, you guys got any wine? And the guy's like, no. Well, my buddy worked at a restaurant that just burnt down, and he actually happened to have a trunk full of wine. Red, white, anything you want. And so we told him that. So he's like, yeah, I want it. And we cleared it with Ziggy's that we could give him alcohol. And they were like, we don't go.
Yeah.
And so
I don't think they cared about much there.
They didn't. They didn't much at all.
But he bought us all drinks. We gave him some wine, and he did a custom one-off piece of art on one of the bottles for my buddy and
That's
signed it.
neat.
All because we were f***ing respectful.
Right.
Yeah.
They're human beings.
It doesn't
man.
take much,
Yeah.
man. It really
Yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah.
Then I have another story
Give
where
it.
I totally ate shit in front of Joel Stretzel of Kill Switch Engage. We went and saw him.
amazing.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
a bunch of us. Some of my friends know they're from up north, and they know the guys and some of the bands up there. But after one of the shows, Kill Switch shows, we all got up with Stretzel and we went to one of the local bars. And I was in the back of a truck, and literally there was probably 30, 40 people sitting outside. We pull up right in front of the establishment. Everyone opened the doors. Strutzel was in front of me in the passenger side back of the truck. And as soon as he stepped out, I jumped out, my knees gave way, and I ate shit in front of God and everybody. And I just remember him looking down going, "Are you good, man?"
Sounded like it was from a King of the Hill episode.
Oh man!
Like there was that
Damn it,
one dude.
J-Dubs.
There was that one dude in the back of the that was sitting in the back. You just hear,
Oh, damn.
No, what's really like I think it tells something is that's going to be way more memorable for you than it ever will be for him.
"Oh, he still remembers it." Okay. Oh yeah. When I see him, it gets brought up.
Every time I meet somebody that I'm like a fan of, I just immediately turn into like Chris Farley on Saturday Night Live talking to Paul McCartney, where he's just like, "Remember when you were in the Beatles?" Yeah, like I met S.A. Martinez.
That was cool.
I met S.A. Martinez from 311 one time. They were playing in Asheville, and we were walking down the street, and it was before their gig. No one was around. It was just me and him. And it was when they were doing their album Uplifter, and they were working with Bob Rock. So I don't care about Bob Rock. I don't care about that. I've been listening to this man's lyrics since I was like 10 years old, and only thing I could say was, "What was it like working with Bob Rock?" I do not give a shit. And I did eventually like pull it together and say, "Thank you.
Yeah.
You're my favorite band. Your lyrics mean a lot to me." Got a picture with him.
But you actually fangirled out. Like,
It took me a good like 20 seconds to reel it in before I could like coherently
Yeah,
speak.
sometimes it's hard to find those words.
man.
Like,
Hey,
you imagine the situation, but when you
Right.
get there, you're like,
At least it was only 20 seconds.
No, it was like this weird awkward pause where I was kind of like that.
What do you say to this guy that you love so much who has no idea who you are?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a weird spot to be in. Dude.
have
It
I
really
ever
is.
have I ever told you my Devil Wears Prada story?
I'm pretty sure you have.
So,
if it's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, Devil.
You're a big fan of the film?
I actually am.
Got him.
Stanley Tucci's the shit.
He's good. I
He
do
is,
so
dude.
good.
He's one of my favorites.
But Devil Wears
I
Prada
would
was
have
coming to
respected
town.
you more if you were like Glenn Close is amazing.
She is. So is Anne Hathaway. I don't give a damn.
shoes.
I watched that movie a couple times.
Yeah.
Fight me. But the band, Devil
Anne
Wears
Hathaway
Prada,
was not the best part of that
was
movie.
coming to town, and I was working at this bowling alley, nice bowling alley. I was a chef there, and we kept noticing on Saturday nights there was a guy on this league whose last name was Veronica. And we're like, that's a really uncommon name. And like Mike Veronica is the singer of Devil Wears Prada,
Yeah.
or the screamer. And I was like, they got to be related. It was his fucking dad.
Yeah.
His dad,
Wow.
moved down here because he worked for like Honda. Or
Yeah, I worked
Mazda.
with his dad at Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Yeah, so me and my buddy were like,
Can you say that again faster?
I went
Crown
down.
Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
I went down to talk to him. I was like, hey
Car
man,
ramrod.
I got a really crotch punch.
He said car ramrod.
But after a few weeks, I went down and I asked him. I just straight asked him. I was like, hey, man, are you related to Mike Veronica from Prada? He's like, I am. Are you guys going to the show? I was like, we totally are. Can I take a picture with you? He's like, really? I was like, yeah. So I took a picture with Mike Veronica's dad. And then after the show, we went out and stood out by the bus, just hanging out, waiting out. And we talked to Jeremy first. But then
Did you yell at him from the bus? I got a picture with your dad.
Better.
I know your dad.
It was better than that. So Mike comes up to talk to us, and we're like, hey, man, what's going on? I got a really crazy picture to show you. Pull my phone out, pull up the picture of me and his dad. He goes, yo, Jeremy, it's the bowling dudes. So his dad had already told him about the story.
That's amazing, dude.
Yeah,
That is,
were great.
that is totally the story I was thinking of.
But it actually got better because me and my buddy went next door to the bar after talking to them, and then the drummer Daniel comes in with these two hot chicks that he clearly just met, and they're sitting in the bar. So we buy him his first round, and he's like, "Come on down." So he's had 3 hours just talking to us, and I said, "I'm actually kind of pissed off, man, because all I wanted was a Prada hat." And you were sold out. He's like, hold on, what's your address? And he put it in his phone. He sent it to his merch guy. And like 3 weeks later, we got a box with like hats, stickers, and like koozies and shit.
That's cool.
For nothing, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That band is
good
awesome.
form.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
man.
form, Peter.
All because we were respectful and nice, dude.
I remember when that happened, the day he got that box, he was like a firecracker.
I
Dude.
missed
He was
that
like, you
hat.
guys aren't going to believe this, dude. You're not
Yeah.
going to believe it.
Okay, look, I would be excited too.
Yeah, it was
so
awesome.
you know,
Yeah.
so his making fun of your excitement I'm not gonna give.
Not making fun of, dude.
No.
It was an actual moment of joy. Like this dude was the most excited, and I was like, I remember it because he was so excited.
And I've been a fan since, man. I love that band.
So with that, like, no, it's funny because, like, you know, with what we're doing, and I talked about this before, that I got a request from the Ongoing Concepts bassist,
Right.
And when I got it, I was like, hey. Yeah, I got that moment. I got that.
Well, the butterflies get you a little bit. You're like, oh my god.
Oh yeah, like I screenshot it and said to him, I was like, he's talking to me.
It was funny because when he told me that later that night, I showed my family because are you guys familiar with them at all?
Not until
Okay,
I found out
Ongoing
about you guys.
Concept is like if dance music could be heavy.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
It's really
I
really
like
good.
that dance,
And-
heavy dance music.
and-
It's a band
we
called
like-
The Ongoing Concept.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah, we did their album Places, but their new album, what's the name of the new album? I can't remember.
Again.
Yeah. But like the new, like Places was good. But again, well, I'm not going to say because we haven't recorded the episode
Yeah.
on it yet. And so I'm not going to give my opinion.
But they're on Solid State
Smart.
Records, and so, you know, clean stuff. And my girls, I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, and they both really like heavy music. So I remember showing them. They have
Oh, you don't say.
they have a song called Cover Girl, and the video is really fun because they go into like an elementary school classroom and play this just brutal heavy song, singer screaming his head off. It's awesome. It's so much fun.
How do you
So-
get away with filming that?
It's great.
I want to know.
It's
I
so
wanna
good.
know how they did that.
Such a great video. And I remember showing it to specifically my 5-year-old because I knew she'd get a kick out of it. So after that day that their bass player hit him up, I was like, hey guys, check out our new friend. And I showed them that video and they were like, yeah, we've seen this video before. We were talking about, I was like, their bass player likes our show. And it's
You
pretty
got
cool.
to be like, oh my god, yeah,
Yeah.
no, like I'm famous too.
Yeah. But what's crazy is we did do one of their albums on our show, but it's one of those like old episodes that hasn't been re-uploaded yet.
No, it has.
It has?
It has. It was actually, so the first month, like everything went down with our other podcast in June. And so by the end of June, I think it was 12 of our old episodes uploaded, and the Ongoing Concept was in it. But what we found out was, or what I found out through talking to him, that it was an episode we did on Dayseeker's album Sleep Talk that brought him to our podcast.
Yeah, it wasn't even, he had no clue that we had done his
And
band.
Oh, cool.
And
That's cool.
Yeah,
at
it
the
was
point
pretty
of
cool.
at the point of asking him, he had no idea it was even there.
Yeah.
And so,
Wow.
you know, he was like, "I'll listen to it," but he was like, I didn't even record that album, so I don't have any attachment to it." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And that's
It's like
when he
good
was
because
like,
we talked mad shit. No, I'm kidding.
I was gonna ask if you shit all over it.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't.
For a split second, I thought you were being real. I was like, no way. I gotta catch that episode.
It was no I Am Abomination. It was pretty good.
Whoa. Shots fired.
Again,
Shots
dude.
fired.
Damn.
Actually,
He just
I-
keeps reloading and going for it.
That
dude.
band's going to kick my ass one of these days.
well, I think
He's
the
gonna
one
show up at your door and be like, "You got something to say now?"
Yeah.
well, I think the one we went the hardest on was the Broken View. They're a band that really wants to be good, and
Damn.
yeah.
That hurts.
Okay,
dude.
so that-
wasn't even aimed at me, and I'm gonna walk funny for a couple days.
So
Dang.
that was okay. So picking albums for the show, a lot of times it's requests, a lot of times it's stuff that we want to talk about. Sometimes we will stumble across a band. Matter of fact, we're going to do an episode on a band that I just sort of stumbled upon the other day, and they're not even around anymore. But I like this. I wanted to talk about this album, but The Broken View was one that I think you heard like
Yeah.
a song by.
So the lady turned me on to it because she reads these
Oh,
how
call
do we
call
say-
them what you called them when you told me.
adult-friendly books.
Hey.
You
she
you
likes
called
them
them
50 Shades
smut.
of Grey, huh?
You called them smut.
Yeah,
Hey,
no.
smut is not a dirty word, man.
No, she reads smut books, and occasionally, like a new trend in them is they'll actually put together a playlist, and so there's smut lists. And so the Broken View was a band that was on a smut list, and
Are these playlists on Spotify?
yes,
Okay.
They're actually.
wanted to know.
They're actually more common.
I'm asking for a friend.
Don't get your hopes up. This
I'm
isn't
gonna go ahead and
sexist.
tell
It's me.
you.
I'm the friend.
These
No,
are
I
very
just-
real.
Is it
They're very
music I
common.
can?
yeah.
They're common. Yeah, I've
music for
recorded
that?
one.
The one that we
I've
found it
recorded
on,
one.
the playlist we found it on is called "Be Gentle, But Let Me Know You Were Here."
Are you fucking kidding me?
You would not believe the amount of our episodes that are on that list. Horrifying.
Oh man, we totally have to make a spoof one.
Yep.
All right.
Dude, J-Dubs, get the out of my head, bro.
I have no idea what the name of the playlist actually is.
It doesn't matter anymore.
Oh, God.
Holy shit, dude.
Nobody listening understood a single thing for the last 33 seconds. Not a single word.
Fine.
Oh, my God. Jesus. That got me good, dude. Doing it. We're totally doing it.
So anyway, so this was this band. Like I heard this one track and I was like, this is good enough that I needed to find out more about this band, need to listen to more, but I think it'd be a good idea to bring it to the show. And so like we've come across a couple of times now where there's like a song that we like by a band. And then we won't listen to the full album until it's time to do it for the show.
So you go out of your way to go into it a little more blind.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
Nice. Okay.
That album sucked. It was bad. It was bad.
It was
Damn.
It was like bad.
Yeah.
like, okay, so like we talked about earlier that we don't want to sit here and say like this sucks, but the Broken View sucks. Like just
Again, it's I actually compared them a lot to you two because they have a lot of these.
not you two, but the band.
Not you two.
Either way,
That's exactly how I took it at first. I'm like,
but
what are you saying, Monster? That hurt my feelings.
either
dude.
way, that made sense.
Yeah, it did.
Right,
It
either
totally
way.
made sense.
Yeah.
No,
One way hurt my feelings and the other way didn't.
if you two started in 2010 with like that musical mentality applied to the way the Edge plays guitar and the way Bono writes lyrics, that's kind of what the Broken View was doing. And for me,
New
not my
age
thing.
you too.
Yeah, not my thing.
Right.
And so
You three.
You
I
three?
was, yeah. So I was very.
I love that. That was well played.
But again, I think that right now is the bottom of our list. They
Yes,
were the lowest rated album we've done.
Yes, and
What rating
like,
did they get?
well, they got the bottom of the list, and so now I think like I always know how many episodes we've recorded by where the Broken View is.
I want to say I gave it a 3 something, and you probably gave it a.
I think I gave it like a 5 to be nice.
That makes
Yeah.
that makes I'm Abominations
I
episode
was just
even
going to
worse.
say that because I was
You're like, this is the worst shit ever, but they got a better score than I Am Abomination.
no, so-
marginally.
No, I Am Abomination got a higher score overall.
Overall.
I
Yeah.
think I scored. Honestly, I think I scored I Am Abomination higher than Broken View because I Am Abomination had a couple songs that like were up tempo.
Yeah, at least
And-
they had that intro.
Right. That first song was good. But no, the Broken View, again, a good example. When we posted the episode, he made me tag them against my better judgment. And
We're gonna tag
I
everybody.
think I
They
think that
loved it?
I think that they shared I get a notification on X whenever anybody does anything with our stuff, and so I got a notification that they shared it. But then I went and looked like 2 hours later, and it wasn't there. So like they shared it.
They shared it
listened to
before they listened
they
to
shared
it.
it, listened to it, and said, never mind.
Yeah. So like the thing about the scoring thing is like now I would have scored the Broken View much lower because the way that I score things has definitely changed when it went from like in the beginning of us doing
After
them.
we heard I Am Abomination,
Yeah, I was
it
going to say,
changed
when did it
everything.
change? Did it change?
Hey, but I
with
think
Eye
that
of
gives you
Abomination?
guys an opportunity to have extra bonus episodes where you touch back on stuff you've already gone through.
That
right?
is something we
we've talked
have
about it.
discussed. Yeah,
Sweet.
we've talked about maybe on like our 100th episode or something like that, going back because what we did, especially when we first started, we were very much like 6, 6.5. Or 5. Like we were very like 0.5s, and now we've gotten a little goofy. Like we'll rate something like a 4.72. You know, stuff like that.
Well, it's like that kind of evolved within itself because it was like we were doing whole numbers, and then it was like, okay, let's introduce a decimal point, and then I think it was actually on the Throwdown episode where we gave it 2 decimal points, where Monster was like, "I'm gonna give it the most middle score ever, 6.66."
But because of that, we have a lot of ties, and we have a lot that
A
are,
lot of ties.
or they're right within like 2 or 3 percentage points of each other. So we thought about going back and being like, okay, these 5 albums are all rated 6.75.
6.75 is the name of that episode, isn't it?
Maybe. Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
Where would we rank these amongst each other? Like, which one is the best 6.75 album that
Right.
we've done? You know,
Right.
that kind of thing.
Cool.
Just
They all can't be the same.
yeah,
There
like
can only be one.
yeah. And to your point, you know, I think the way we were listening to these albums on the first 10, 20 episodes versus how we listen to them now, we have a different mindset, and we're approaching albums differently, and
Right.
we would score like if we went back and did our first 10 episodes again, I think we'd probably give those albums different scores than we did now.
Do you think they would be, on average, do you think they would be better or worse or
Well, that's the thing. I don't know. A
little bit of both?
Yeah, I mean, they would
half
definitely
and
be that
half
way.
maybe?
Yeah.
You know, because in the beginning, you know, in the first 10 episodes, everything was a top 10 album. And now, you know, now it's like I think we're coming up on 80 episodes, and it's like
These bands actually get back to us when we rate them badly. We should do that more.
right, but what
Sergeant Pepper sucked.
I don't think,
hold on,
I don't
Ringo's
think any of the
calling me.
Beatles are getting back to you at these
Yeah,
points.
Ringo, he's got nothing better to do.
so I think we're gonna get some hate mail on the episode that's coming out next week on Post Malone. Because,
Oh my God!
You will.
Yeah,
I wanted to
will.
hear about
I
that
will.
because, like, I heard Post Malone's doing a country album, and look, I'm a fan of good music, and you can find good music in any genre,
Right.
except country.
Liar.
I hate country. I can't stand country.
So here-
and even then, I say that's not entirely true because there are some things that I would call really close to country that I actually really do like, but there's something about that.
He's a
that
big Kid Rock
country
fan.
That no, dude, no.
He doesn't like the pandering.
You're done.
He don't
You're
like
cut
the-
off.
he
No
don't-
more drinks for
My
you.
bad.
He doesn't
We'll
like
just
the
cut that out.
pandering.
No, I think I think there's a lot of country where
A lot
it's
of
like,
pandering, a lot of formula, and it just I can't stand that shit to
No,
begin
fair
with.
enough.
Man.
And like some of it should be like the country should be spelled without
Yeah.
the first O.
yes. Now look, don't get me wrong. I don't dislike the entire genre based off of Luke Bryan, but like,
But that
like
flavor of country,
right,
is
yeah,
not your
dude,
thing.
and like there aren't many flavors of country that I do like, but I really dig bluegrass.
Yeah, I
and
do
it
too.
comes so close in a lot of different places that it's hard to pinpoint the line, and it gets subjective.
I'm a gigantic
like-
fan of 70s outlaw country.
I like that stuff too.
Yeah.
So
Big
we even
Waylon
mentioned
Jennings, Johnny
this.
Cash.
Yeah, so we mentioned
Dude,
this
if it's not Cash, it ain't country, and I'm with that, dude. I love Johnny Cash.
on the Post
But it's a
Malone
different
album.
thing.
We actually kind of bring that up because I've played in a country band before, and I had to learn 50, 60 country songs from the 80s to brand new modern country stuff too.
Yeah.
And kind of like we talked about, you kind of learn an appreciation for stuff that you wouldn't typically listen to. And I'm with you. Johnny Cash, David Allan Coe, Merle Haggard, like that country.
Yep.
But dude, I love pop music. I am a sucker for like Florida Georgia Line, like literally.
Bet you like them Rascal Flats too.
I like Garth
I
Brooks.
like
I'm
Rascal
not,
Flatts.
I'm not so much into Rascal Flats, but like,
They have a good Christmas album.
but basically like,
That right there, that Christmas album line right there is where we
That's
should
a
have ended the
soundbite
podcast.
right there, dude.
They have a good Christmas album. Done.
but no, that like
They
that
could
pop
tour with
production.
Mariah Carey. And
Yeah.
Ah, put her back in the box.
And Michael Bublé.
But I genuinely like pop production with twang on top, like those kind of artists.
Man,
and so
that
Post
twang
Malone,
is the part that I hate the most.
okay. So we discovered a new genre of music, I guess. Have you guys ever heard of Bill Murray?
The actor?
No,
No,
the band,
the
band.
music.
Then no.
Artist.
And it's hard because there's the band Bill Murray and there's another band called the John
Yeah, I
Candy.
was like, the
and-
Ghostbusters. I've
No.
seen it. What are
No,
you talking about?
It's BILM.
URI.
URI. Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
one word.
So he used to be in the band Attack Attack, and he's gone on to do his own thing.
They've
now.
come up a couple of times today.
Yeah. So if you should really check out Bill Murray's newest album called American Motorsports, and they call it Y'alternative. It's got these heavy drop riffs that are just gnarly, like very genty, and then the verse will kick in, and you'll hear like a slide steel, and he's got like a little bit of twang on his voice.
And then the chorus, you hear
and then the
yeehaw
chorus,
and
No.
Then the chorus kicks into these big metal rock hooks.
Yeah, it's
Dude,
the Southern
neat.
hardcore
Yeah,
movement.
there's some metal
Yeah,
country
Hardy.
now.
All right, well,
Hardy's
look,
doing
Hardy-
it.
I would-
Lakeview.
I would-
Lakeview's
Yeah.
another good one.
Just so we know, right now, I want to go out on a high note. I want to go out on this note. Tell me this band name again.
Bill Murray.
Murray.
Bill Murray.
Yes.
I feel like we should check that out. We should end the podcast right now and then go check out Bill Murray. And then we should have you guys on again.
Well,
this was
oh,
a lot
sure,
of fun.
yeah.
Yeah,
I had so much fun.
Before we turn this off, man, why don't you guys pimp out your stuff? Tell them where they
Yes.
can hear your show. Let them come find you. We love you guys.
So on Spotify, Breakdowns for Breakfast. On X, we're BFB2024, and then on Instagram, Breakdowns for Breakfast. There.
We do have a Facebook page.
Yes.
And I found a few of your things on YouTube too. So like
Right.
you can find you guys just
so
about everywhere.
we post the episodes on YouTube, but periodically we'll upload more content. Like if we go to a concert or if we've just other things with other bands, pop up. We'll post videos on there. So there's a lot of content out there.
What's the best place to find you? Spotify?
Spotify. Yeah.
Spotify, yeah.
Done.
And,
All
and Spotify's actually gotten kind of interesting. They now have a place where you can leave comments. We have a link where you can send us a text message.
Yeah.
We've got an email address if you got any requests.
They've got
or-
polls and stuff. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can do on
yeah.
Now,
Spotify too.
if you do click that link to send us a message, let me know beforehand because we have no idea where it goes.
I don't know what
We don't-
happens.
We don't know what happens with
Interesting.
it. Nobody sent us a
we
message.
might
that
might
way.
run a little experiment. before you
Yeah,
guys
please
leave today.
do,
That'd be
please
fun.
do. But yeah, we love requests. We love when people send us albums to check out. Don't get mad if we don't love it, okay? We're just
Yeah.
two
I
jackasses
won't.
with a podcast.
I'm gonna save it for off air, but I've got a couple more suggestions myself.
Okay, good,
but
good,
I think
good.
If we don't like your suggestion, just take J Dub's thing and just send us another one.
Well,
Yeah,
all right.
exactly.
done.
Well,
We can do that.
Monster, Danger, thank you so much for coming on the
Thank you,
podcast.
appreciate
This
it,
was
guys.
a blast.
This was fun.
Give it up for them,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
Breakdowns for Breakfast. Take us out, J Dubs, Ready Set Radio Podcast.
Hey, if you like that video, don't forget to click subscribe, like the video, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our new content.